Philip Polkinghorne has dodged a few bullets, hasn't he, this afternoon, and got away with it. That's if he did it, and he didn't do it. The jury said he did not do it. He's not guilty of a murder and not guilty of manslaughter. He will be up for sentencing, though, in November for possession of 37 grams of methamphetamine that they found in the house, and also the vessel, whatever you call it, that he used to smoke it as well, so the pipe or so forth. So he's still in trouble, but none of the trouble that he was looking like he was going to be in, facing 20-odd plus years in jail. It would have been him, wouldn't it? At 71 years of age, he would have died probably in jail for a horrific crime. But he has been found not guilty. Victim's advocate, of course, is Ruth Money. Hi, Ruth, how are you going?
Hey, Duncan. Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, what's your reaction to this?
Oh, I mean, I'm grieving for Hannah and her family. It is absolutely revolting. It shows how lack of evidence can affect a poor jury who have had to suffer through 7 weeks of that nonsense. I'm trying not to swear. And I really feel for the jury, because now the media are full of the pieces of evidence from a Crown witness who didn't show up. And I'm concerned that they now think that, or know that they may well have made the wrong decision.
Could they not? Now, the person who didn't show up is, of course, the escort out of Sydney, who said that she would have taken a wire. She would have put a wire on to have proven this. So a lot of people think that he did it and got away with it. But how could they have got her involved? How could the Crown? There's serious questions around the Crown case, isn't there?
Yes, I mean, you know, we're having to go on hearsay here, but she has come out swinging and given many, many statements saying that she was prepared to give evidence, but felt that she was treated poorly by the New Zealand justice system, and therefore she chose not to attend as being a witness. But she has also gone on record to say that she thought and hoped that he would be found guilty. So, yeah. Unfortunately, though, in New Zealand, you can't go again, right? So he has gone off.
You can't go again, not now. It's not a hung jury, it's a decisive jury. And I just don't know. She says that, correct me if I'm wrong, but she says that, she was treated poorly by the justice system. But they had a year and a half to get this right, because they never arrested this guy for 18 months. So you would have thought they would have been able to build a case in that time and also get everything together and, get taps and wires and all sorts of things. It looks really shabby.
Yeah, it does on the surface look like there are certainly some big issues in terms of clearly this is why the jury's found that there wasn't enough evidential sufficiency to find him either guilty of murder or manslaughter. And I thought it was really interesting today, the question that they asked this morning indicated that they didn't believe for a second that it was suicide. But of course, when they were reminded of where the burden of proof sits, which is with the Crown, to get to that evidential level, they couldn't get there. And they couldn't get there on the information that was presented in front of them.
You see, it's a real concern now, isn't it? Because I was speaking to a police officer 2 weeks ago, senior police officer, 38 years in the game, who said to me, it looks like he's killed her, but it does not look like they have the evidence to prove it. And this was 2 weeks ago, and he's been proved right. They didn't present a case, and you must admit the lawyer for Polkinghorne did his job really well. Which is it's a very sad system that we operate under, but that's the system, right?
That is the system, unfortunately, and when it is, it's not. Unfortunately, with coronial inquests, for example, it's an inquisitorial system. Everybody is there for the truth. When you get into the system of criminal justice that we have in New Zealand, it is not everyone's there for the truth. It is one side, presenting facts against another, and the other doesn't have to take the stand. The other, the burden of proof is on the Crown to present their evidence and to get them over that threshold, which simply didn't happen. I mean, this man, in my humble opinion, is an absolute textbook domestic violence. Everything about him and his behaviour that's been reported shrieks that he killed her. He may not have killed her at night, but he certainly killed her spirit. He certainly controlled everything that she had to do and how she survived her life. And my heart just hurts so much for her family.
You know, this guy is a textbook narcissist, a textbook, I don't know whether it's a sociopath or a psychopath. It's one of those, probably a sociopath. And a philanderer, heavy drug user, who only cared about himself, and everybody could fall by the wayside as long as his life wasn't messed with.
How revolting was it when we stand outside the court and say, oh, can we now grieve and let her rest in peace?
Yeah, I know. But that's the behaviour of a narcissist. That's exactly my point. Exactly. Now let me be a victim. You know? Correct. I don't know what sort of comfort anyone can get out of this.
You and I talk about this all the time. Well, they can't. And you and I talk about this all the time. You know, New Zealand has a domestic violence epidemic. That is the relationship, I use in inverted commas, that is what she was trapped in. Domestic violence relationship. And it happens everywhere. You know, that happened in the heights of Remuera, darling. It happens everywhere. And until New Zealand accepts it, we're just going to keep seeing behaviours like this.
And what you see, even I listened to the tape in the court of Pauline visiting some family members and talking about him as this horrible guy, but you know she was with him and then she started defending him when they were attacking him. You see, and I just thought I listened to this twice. It was posted on YouTube, the evidence, and I just thought, my God, this is a voice from the grave telling us that something's wrong, not quite right here, and it's really wrong. Yet she was in the same breath defending him because she didn't want to lose what she had. She said she loved him and everything. It's a hugely sad case. I wonder how many other cases are out there just like this.
Yeah, it's very, very, very sad. You know, as I say, it is an epidemic. I mean, that is textbook domestic abuse. She was in love with being in love. You know, she couldn't escape. She was in an incredibly difficult situation, and unfortunately, she couldn't escape and she couldn't get out, and however it happened on that night, she's not here to speak for herself.
That's correct. And you're right, and there were people around her who knew that something wasn't right. They knew a lot wasn't right because she was telling them, yet they couldn't get her out either. What should we do as family and friends in this situation, Ruth? How do we get people to exit relationships when they're so complex? You know, there's a lot of money in that relationship. She wouldn't have had a lifestyle like she had then. She was worried that he was going to take all the money and had already fleeced the money anyway. So she was clinging on to hope that everything would come right. It was never going to come right. And now she's gone. I just wonder, what should we do as family members or whatever if we spot this sort of stuff? What do you do?
Yeah, you have to be the help. So, you know, lots of times we are too scared to broach the subject, talking just as mates and in our community. We need to get it out of the shadows. We need to talk about it. We need to normalise it so that people feel safe discussing it. But we also need to be the help. We need to offer and let people know that we are there for them, and make people aware that you are there to help them. No questions asked. You will help them get out of that relationship. And it takes a long time to engineer that. As a survivor, it takes a long time to realise that you are in an abusive relationship. And as you say, it's very difficult when there's then pets and children and money and every asset's all tied up together. But I promise anybody who is hearing, you are safer out than in, and there are many, many groups out in the community that can help you navigate that.